Welcome back to another one of my videos. Today we are going to be discussing wireframes. What are they? Why use them? What are some advantages and disadvantages of using wireframes? And when to use them. Sometimes people also call wireframes mockups, and they are essentially a blueprint for designers, developers, other decision makers, pretty much helping everybody to make some decisions prior to the actual design existing. And by design, I mean a website design or an app design. Anytime I start on a brand new project, whether that being a website or an app design, one of my very first steps is making some wireframes. As I'm wireframing, I'm making sure to keep the least amount of details as possible. Mostly using just very simple shapes like circles, boxes, lines, dots, arrows, keeping it very minimum. And I normally prefer doing this in a sketching format. Normally I use my iPad Pro and I just sketch right on that thing. This allows me to work very quickly and efficiently, and I can change things as I see fit very fast. Certain elements like copy and the language that will be used in the designs is not so important to be used in wireframes, so that's something that normally gets skipped. What's important for me to know while I'm designing the wireframe is the type of elements or the type of content that will need to live in this website or app. Such elements as videos, images, iconography, form field, dashboard, menus, call to action buttons, brands, and graphs. These are just a few of the examples. It's important to also know the goal of the site. Let's say, for example, there's a website and you want a user or the user to buy some product. Knowing this information will help you in laying out your wireframe and flow. You might start off with a landing page which might have some images or videos of the product with a buy it now button, and when that button is pressed, you might be taken through a checkout flow or checkout process. This is where you would enter your shipping and billing information and also possibly choose some preferences for that item. That would be a small example of a wireframe put together to show you a logical flow. Again, I want to mention that during this process, I'm not overthinking everything and just really laying out the basic core and the main elements of the structure. I found that it's really good to use wireframes as early as possible in my design process. This way I'm able to communicate to the client before designing any high fidelity designs, and I'm able to communicate to the client very clearly. A few advantages of using wireframes are they are very low on detail, that way I can focus more on general layout and structure. I can quickly experiment with layout without having to invest too much time into high fidelity design. Other people who I'm demonstrating the overall structure of the website won't be distracted by design since wireframes are so minimum, allowing you to laser focus on structure and flow. At the same time, some disadvantages to having only wireframes might be, in some situations, you might need to know what's actually in the copy or text and be able to demonstrate that. The layout is too simplified and might need more context. And lastly, maybe the person that you're showing your low fidelity wireframes might have some trouble imagining what things will look like since it's such low fidelity wireframes. Maybe they need more design elements to really be able to visualize that. I mentioned structure and flow in this video a few times, but I wanted to define for you what I actually meant by those from a wireframing perspective. When I'm referring to structure, a good example of that might be a home page or a landing page where I'm quickly trying to decide where to lay things out on that page. Elements such as the hero section, which usually lives at the top of the page, possibly various images or graphics, the positions of where some of the copy would live, call to action buttons, the navigation, and anything else that would help accomplish the website or app's goals. And when I'm talking about flows, a good example might be something like a registration flow from a wireframe perspective. And in that circumstance, I would usually have the first screen asking for the user's login information or potentially giving them the option to make a new account. Then quickly wireframe both of those scenarios so we see what those would look like in the flow. I would then continue to show the email and form screens and show examples of what some of the error screens would look like. For example, if the user entered the wrong password, or if they needed to verify a password, or if they forgot their current password. All those screens need to be designed and showed in the flow. Basically a story of what would happen step by step, allowing you to potentially catch certain mistakes or see any of the screens that I might have missed and very easily just add the missing screens. Yep, you guessed it. Now I'm going to jump on my iPad and show you how I work through some of these screens. This is my iPad. Let me show you how this works. And in this example, I'll show you an example for a home page or a landing page wireframe demo. So I normally start off by making a box that's fairly neat. And at the top, maybe we might have the hero section kind of something like that. And then maybe there might be some graphic elements that might live on a certain side, let's say. And then maybe there might be like a navigation, right? That might have like a CT, there might be some brand, the navigation at the top. And then maybe there might be, let's see, some social proof, maybe something like a quote at the bottom. So now we're going a little bit lower. Maybe there might be a quote there, people saying some positive stuff, and the quote can just like scroll through and show different things. Back to the hero, maybe there's like a big image of the book. Say this is a book, for example, this is like a book website, and there might be some copy here that will talk about some information regarding what this product is. Let's see, and then maybe there might be a CTA that might live there, and and maybe there's some more information below that user can look and see more information regarding that book, and maybe some benefits of why that's a good book. And and maybe there's like an email form, right? So some way that the users can contact the book, maybe the author of the book, and they can send a question or something like that. And a lot of times there will be like a footer and maybe an arrow back, so you could take them back to the top of the web page. So I usually do this, and sometimes what I'll do is I I'll make a couple versions of them and then just like lay things out and move things around and stuff like that. That's something that I'll do sometimes, or potentially just make a couple layouts or a couple versions of that same kind of website, and just try to experiment with various ideas and just lay things out and maybe in different places. And this allows me to really experiment and really try stuff out very, very fast before moving to high fidelity designing. So I'm very quickly just moving. I'm kind of just trying a couple different layouts. Maybe there's something like a sideways thing here, right? Maybe there's some information and it's kind of sideways or something like that. just really exactly just kind of demoing or just kind of experimenting with very fast high fidelity. My point of this is just to show you that it's just good to try, not to really start off with the very first thing you try, but really just to move on and try different ideas and really try to get out of your normal design phase, or this kind of what you would normally do, or what people would expect you to do. This way it really allows you to get kind of new and fresh ideas. So just wanted to mention that. And for the registration flow, let me get rid of this thing that I just made for you. 1 second. There might be a couple screens, something like that. And maybe these screens are just kind of examples, and they just show you like kind of telling you what this product is all about, and it just has different graphical elements. Maybe there's some dots and they're kind of empty, but one of them, the first one is filled, and the second one is filled, and the third one. So then the user knows they're kind of looking, kind of learning about what this product is. So I'm kind of showing that in this wireframe flow. And then they get to the registration part, and then maybe there's some form fields for them to enter their email here and their password here. And this would be a scenario where it's a user that's an existing user that's coming back to a platform that they've already logged in and that they've already registered, and they have some information entered here. And maybe there's a button here that takes them, if they're a brand new user, it takes them to another flow, right? And that other flow has all this other stuff where they could enter potential information, and then maybe upload an image, upload their profile image, enter their password or create a password, and then from there might be something like two-factor authentication. So we would show those screens. There might be some copy information, and then we'd have to take them to their email. Then we'll have to open their email, and then from their email we'll take them back to the flow again. And now they've confirmed that that's their email. Maybe they would enter their phone number, and then in their phone they'll get some code, and then from that code they enter that, and then it brings them back, and now they're back to the flow, and now they're done. And the app, let's say the story starts here, that's the actual app, but to get to that you have to log in. So then you log in, or from this flow where you created a new registration, it also takes you to the same flow. So then you can easily like move some of the stuff around as you see fit, and very quickly allows you to experiment various ideas without committing so much to the high fidelity design. So this was kind of my example of the user flow wireframe. I hope that was pretty easy to understand, and really I hope that the big takeaway here is that it's really important to take your ideas and organize them and simplify them as much as possible before starting on your actual high fidelity designs. Hopefully that should greatly help you organize your thoughts. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you for checking out my video. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.